Hello everyone, welcome to the next session on SAP UI5. Thank you so much. I am getting lot of good response on YouTube from all of you, and I'm continuously getting lot of emails from so many people around the world regarding asking so many questions. I hope I will meet up to your expectations, and every time whenever there is a question which is being posted to me, I always work hard to try to find out answer for that question. And always from now onwards I'll try to create a video for that question and post it on YouTube. So keep posting your comments, keep posting your responses on YouTube. It always energizes me, it always allows me to learn more and break the barrier. Unfortunately, I am traveling a lot these days for giving a lot of corporate trainings and getting very less time these days to create new videos. But I'm sure I will, as and when I get time, I will create videos for you, and I will definitely bring those knowledge, bring the gap or fill in the gap which you have it today in the technology. So one amazing question which I've got on my YouTube video. So let me quickly show you where exactly that comment is. So recently I posted a basic video on SAP NetWeaver Gateway. So I just search for SAP Gateway or data. I just switch to my video quickly. And in that video, a nice question was asked: what if we have multiple origins? What do we do? So if you just come down, you can see my video again, uh, where 4 days ago we posted, and we have by far 153 views, and that's pretty amazing. And I already received one question here on the YouTube video. Hello, Nubhav. If we have main service, I have ordered a service with two system alias. Can I get alias name in SAP UI5 application? So very nice question, and in fact, a similar question I've received from email today from Mayuk Chatterjee. So Mayuk is saying, I have a doubt regarding OData service. Could you please answer? In central hub deployment, if we have /IWFND main service in the gateway hub system to register the service, or everything needs to be done in the backend system, what is the difference in embedded and central hub deployment from developers' point of view? A very good question, but yet again a similar question. So I thought of creating and spending some time on this topic. So let's take a scenario. Uh, okay, let me just open online canvas. Yeah. So let's take a scenario where what exactly we are doing is we have a central hub scenario. Okay. In the central hub scenario, we have one SAP gateway system, and we have multiple backend systems. So if you see, there are multiple backend systems. Yeah. And we are always thinking that what is the advantage of using such scenario if you have multiple backend systems, right? So the advantage is, if you, let's say you have multiple backend systems where you have one system which is having SAP ECC functionality, and in that SAP ECC you have your core ERP functionality related to HR and other business processes. Then you have your SAP CRM, and then in the next block, let's say you have SAP HCM functionality. So you have three different business suite component deployed in three different backend systems. And then you have your gateway system, SAP gateway system, which is central hub scenario, which is acting like a central hub. Okay. This is acting like a central hub for us. Now, what happens? Your Fiori application, which we will be building. So here is your Fiori application for that matter. And this Fiori application, which you're creating, will be talking to this gateway central hub system. Okay. It will be talking to this gateway central hub system. And this gateway central hub system will be then deciding which system to call, right? That is what the deciding factor is. That's the main purpose of having this central hub scenario, where you want to decide which system to call at runtime. Your data, from where what is the data source? It may possibly happen in your company that you have multiple backend system, and now at different point you want to pull data from different systems. That depends then multiple factors. It could be that a user who has connected to your Fiori application, he belongs to an HR area. Okay, if the user belongs to HR area, what do you think, which system we should pull the data? Which is the right system which should give you the data? Anyone? If user belongs to HR area, of course you will go with maybe an ECCHR, or maybe you will go with HCM. So let's take in this case HCM, Human Capital Management. Okay. Now, if there is a user which belongs to marketing area or a sales area, which system you should pull the data from? Of course, you will get from CRM. CRM is all about sales marketing, right? Sales marketing and services. That's CRM. So then there is a requirement here based on user role to pull the data from different system. At the same time, you have one OData service definition wherein you say this is my OData service name. Let's say my OData service name is my data underscore SRV. And now this service is single service for Fiori app, but this service has different implementation in different backend. So here you have one implementation, my data service. Here you have another implementation, because you will of course have different set of tables and different algorithm to pull the data. And then you here also you will have different implementation and different algorithm to pull the right set of data based on need. So one OData service, you have three different implementation. Same concept applies in the body also. In SAP we have multi implementation body, right, where we call the body implementation based on filter. Hope you all remember body implementation. I assume that you know ABAP concepts, basic ABAP concepts. So this body concept also is multi-implementation concept, where we call a particular body implementation based on a filter criteria. Same thing if you assume, it makes a great advantage if I have a central hub scenario. I have one OData service, and that service is implemented in three backend systems, same service. And now from the user's point of view, he don't know which system to connect, which system to get data from. It's up to us to decide, and that is decided by role of the user. If a user belongs to marketing area, I should automatically go to marketing system, call this OData implementation, pull the data for you. If user belongs to an HCM area, I should go to HCM system, execute this implementation, get the data for you. If he belongs to a simple FI or controlling area, go to this system, perform my implementation, call my implementation, get the data for you. Makes sense, right? That's the reason, Mayuk, we are actually using central hub scenario. I completely agree. But yeah, if you have such a scenario, if you need such an implementation where you have multiple backends and you want to call different backends based on different usage roles, or different origins, then you would go with this central hub scenario. Now, it may also happen in your company that you may not have these different systems. You may have just one ECC system where everything is there. Then what you do, just create the system alias, just create or maintain the system alias for this ECC system and make it default. That's it. You don't have to worry much about it in that case. If you just have one system, just do this connection, pipeline is set up, you don't need to worry if it is there. So SAP has given feature to us, whether you use or don't use, or whether it is useful for you or not useful for you, it doesn't matter. In cases when it is useful, you can make use of it. That is the main provision. Another reason was to separating the UI layer, all the related stuff related to UI like Launchpad, deployment of Fiori applications, UI roles, theme designing, UI5 application, UI5 framework deployment, UI5 SDK deployment, basically all that goes with the central hub system, and your core functionality still remains in the backend. Any point of time you can unplug and plug it again. So it's a plug and play advantage which you get with this kind of architecture. So hope now you can make out some reasons why we have central hub scenario. So now the question comes is, Anubhav, how do you decide then? How will it make sure that, okay, it call this implementation or this implement? For that, let me show you a use case. So I've got a system today for you. So I think I'm also answering this particular question where it says, if I have OData service with two system aliases, okay, can I get alias name in SAP UI5 application? How do we get it? So for that, you need to call it first of all. Okay, you need to call it in a way that it calls the another alias, and then I'll show you how can you get that information. So let's come down and let's have a look at our system today. So I have a front end system, which is our gateway system, and I have two back end system. One is ECC and one is CRM. So you see, I've got a back end system here and a CRM system here. So I now have to implement my OData service in both the systems. Okay. So what we have done is product set, entity set. So if I say my user has a role for CRM, you need to get me the product data from CRM system. And if my user doesn't have any role specific to CRM or a particular role which I will decide, then you by default go to backend and pull the data from backend system. Fair enough? Very valid use case. Based on user role, I'm going to decide which system I'm going to connect to. And that role will be assigned in the front end system to the user. Okay. So now for that, what are all the basic settings which you need to do? So basic settings are, you need to go to your front end system. So which is in our case is HG. So I logged into HG, and what I need to do is I need to go to SPRO. Guys, this is the basis work, but at least as a developer, if you have an idea, it makes a lot of sense for you. So go to SAP IMG reference and go to SAP NetWeaver gateway, OData channel, configuration, connection setting, SAP NetWeaver gateway to SAP system. So which means we are talking now here about from gateway to SAP system communication. And then first thing, you need to manage RFC destination. What is an RFC? It stands for remote function call in SAP. If you want to connect two SAP systems with each other, we make use of RFC destination. Okay, that's what we make use of, RFC destination. Two systems, if you want to connect together, we use RFC destination. So first, you need to maintain a destination to your CRM system so that you can connect to that CRM system. So that will be first step. It's also done using transaction SM59, where you establish connection. This is what you also do when you're calling your BAPIs from one system to another. So I am skipping this step. Then define system alias. So if you have central hub scenario and if you want to connect to multiple system, for each system you need to maintain a system alias. Alias is nothing but kind of pet name given to the system connection. Okay, and that points to your RFC destination which you created. So I go inside and I had maintained a system alias for SAP CRM. You see, SAP CRM system, and I had maintained here the RFC destination name. So this is my CRM system RFC destination which I had maintained over here. So this is the step number 2. Step number 1, maintain the destination, create a secure connection between your gateway and the backend. Come here to this view here, maintenance view, and maintain your system alias. So now I have two system alias. One is EHP for my ECC system and one is CRM for my CRM system. Two system aliases I have it in the system. Okay, basically these two. This is basically for default. You see, software version default. So IW, PGW, BWF is used for workflow scenarios. Okay, business workflow. You see, BWF, business workflow scenarios. This destination we are not using. We are going to use just Fiori backend trusted and SAP CRM. These two destination to your backend systems created. Very nice. Step number 2 also done. So I am slowly teaching you basis work also. So this is also, if you want to go deep into this, you can subscribe to my next course, which is Launchpad with extensibility. A lot of good learning into that course, because let's say just in case your company asks you to modify or basically extend an standard SAP Fiori application, then you got to learn extensibility pane in Web IDE and see how extensions can be done. So for that, I recommend you to go ahead with this course. That's your next stage to crack, to unlock and go ahead with. So I would strongly recommend anybody who is working in ABAP and WebDean Pro, BSP, or Portal at least complete these three courses with today's market demand. SAP UI5 and Fiori with Gateway, where we learned the complete end-to-end development and techniques for getting used for which are getting used in SAP UiFF and Fiori development, which includes all basics. You don't need to know any basics if you are an ABAPer and you're worried about if I use JavaScript. I've also covered JavaScript in this, as we all already seen. And never copy paste the code. Don't believe on trainers who are just teaching you copy paste of code and who are starting right away with creating apps using template. They kind of somehow getting rid of it. They are kind of getting away from what they're supposed to teach you. Yeah, writing every single line of code makes you understand everything. Then moving to the next step, we should have Fiori Launchpad and Web IDE course, which will take you to the step 2, which is stage 2, where then you learn about mock server, unit testing, deploying the Fiori application into gateway, deep gateway architecture, some kind of basis work, creating administrator role, creating role for business users, managing the front end and back end role, how the users gets managed between front end and back end system, um, theme designer, launchpad designer, your custom logout and login screen for launchpad, mock server. Okay, and then also extensibility scenario, where if you have a standard Fiori app, how would you extend it? That's also a very important topic. How do you activate standard Fiori apps? Where do you find the information about them? Different web ID templates, of course, and groups, catalogs, all that information is also covered in it. And then step number 3, if you're especially an ABAP working in application development, this course is definitely recommended for you for ABAP on HANA, where we will look at the new techniques, what innovation SAP have done recent days. They've brought in SAP HANA as a DB, and it's such a very powerful database which is capable of doing massive parallel processing, and it make use of column store. So what is that means for you as an ABAPer? So we always look at now pushing down our code to database level, and there are different techniques for that. In this course, I've also taught HANA. So with completing this course, you actually get used to SAP HANA also. So in this, I've taught SAP HANA architecture, evolution, um, how to make use of SAP HANA database to define information model, which includes attribute view, analytical view, and calculation view. Using SQL script, we have a deep dive inside SQL script. So if you look at online trainers, for them SQL script is select statement. So any SQL script tutorial, just go and check on internet. Every trainer will only teach SQL statement and little bit of procedural programming. They don't even touch anything beyond that. SQL script is also about other type of user-defined blocks, which includes procedures, user-defined functions. Again, there are subcategories of user-defined function, table function, and scalar functions. And also we have anonymous PL SQL blocks. So you need to have a deep understanding of SQL script, its syntax, and how it is coded, because with that we can push down our imperative logic to the database layer. So then we will look at ABAP database connectivity, ABAP managed data procedure, and also latest ABAP syntax in the market. So you might have seen in our course, current course also, I've showed you some inline data declarations, some table expression, and string expression. How is that code works? What is the new syntax? It's also part of this ABAP on HANA course. Then we look at ABAP managed data procedures. Of course, they are also created using SQL scripts directly in ABAP. We look at proxy objects, HANA transport container, delivery unit, and all of that by taking a real-time open item analysis scenario, OIA scenario we are calling on EPM schema. So you can project this as your mini project in any interview. So always this has been a feedback from my students, say, Anubhav, can you also give us some mini project which we can put in our resume? So in this we have done that. We have taken a real-time open item analysis scenario for an accounting department, account receivable clerk, and with that we had built this scenario on top of everything. And towards the end we'll look at CDS view concept, And yet again, if you look at majority of the trainer online, or you might have also taken already some training where they taught you CDS view, what they teach is basic CDS view, view and view, association. That's it. This is what CDS view is for them. But CDS view is much, much more than that. CDS view also means security. You cannot just leave the security aside. You need to create DCL for managing the security of CDS view. You need to also look at the annotations, and especially these days majority of the projects are on S4 HANA on premise, where you create CDS view with virtual data model VDM annotations. How is that works in interface views, which are also known as basic views. Then we have composite views and consumption views. Then we look at the UI annotations and create a Fiori application on top of CDS views using UI annotations. So soon you will see some more free videos on YouTube. Please subscribe to my channel on YouTube so that you will always get updates, latest updates regarding any new video which I post on YouTube. At least if you cannot afford the training, there is a free learning university. I'm trying to create it on internet. Slowly I will be bringing a lot of knowledge, so you can just hit in the subscribe button over here. With that, you will automatically be notified for any new upcoming video. Okay. Near future, it will be starting on 31st of March. So one recent batch I started about 2 weeks back. Only 6 classes are over by far in this. So if you want to join, then you can cover the missed classes by video and join me live from upcoming weekend. So it's a weekend batch actually. So drop me an email regarding this. We'll discuss that later, not part of this course. And then if you want to also give an edge to your career, then go for this, because it's a cloud world and your company must have taken a subscription for HANA Cloud Platform, where we'll talk about building an end-to-end Fiori application using Java and Olingo framework, and consuming the OData service using that into cloud, completely cloud-based scenario, creating end-to-end Fiori application into the cloud, into HANA Cloud Platform. And soon I will also bring in an amazing concept called SAP HANA Access. Access stands for Extended Services. It's a lightweight application server by SAP deployed into HANA database, HANA platform. So you can make use of that to build your complete application logic at the database layer, including the presentation logic as well. So it also has embedded UI5 framework, which indeed supports development of UI5 applications. So I'm preparing for that. Soon I will be bringing up with that. And then of course we got to learn a lot together. There is more to come into this area. There's a lot of things which are changing recently, and I wish that I can bring in. Unfortunately, not getting time these days. I am getting enormous number of calls every day from lot of corporate companies about Anubhav, please come. For about at least 1 year I am completely packed. So, but at least I take out some time for you to prepare and create YouTube videos. It takes a lot of effort in gesting and creating such a video in my tight schedule, but still I do it to keep you guys engaged. At least those who cannot join my course because of their financial position, I try to see if I can distribute some knowledge. I can give some indication, some knowledge to them, so they at least pick up the right track rather than distracting, because there are a lot of people who are doing brainwashing for you these days. So get away from brainwashing, stick to your target, stick to your goal, see where do you want to see yourself in next upcoming 3 to 5 years, and that's what decides your goal. And that's very important. If you take the wrong path, then you will reach nowhere. But if you take the right path, it would take a lot of hard work and effort, but you will reach to the right destination. Great. So let's come back to our example. So what we were discussing here, having a CRM system. So we have a CRM system, as you saw, and we have an ECC system. And now I will show you that how the gateway automatically decides connecting to which system, and that happens based on user role. So what I will do now is go back to our OData service, which we created yesterday. And of course, I am going back to my front-end system. So this is my front-end system, and as you saw, we had already maintained system alias for CRM as well. So I will go back to my front-end system and go to transaction mean service. And then what I can do is search for filter and just search for my project which we created yesterday using service generation technique. And you can see now, right now, only one system alias is maintained over here. Only one system alias, which means by default, if somebody make a call to this OData service, it will always and always go to ECC system. Okay, ECC system it will go to. I say call browser, and now you will see it's going to ECC system by default. You won't make out also big difference here. It's simple scenario where you have one-to-one mapping between gateway and backend. But let's assume you have now multiple backend. What will you do? Like in this case, now we have CRM also. So we have implemented this service in CRM also, this project, service project in CRM also. And we registered it only once. But now I say add a system alias and click on OK. And now you see there is an entry for my current system alias. I just make a copy of it, select the entry and click on the copy button. And now this is a copied entry. You can change it. So here you see the system alias for your backend system. This we will change it to CRM now. I press F4 and yes, here is my CRM system which I showed you in the SPRO, and I pick it up and I click on and also say a role. So this is what I was talking about, a role. So based on the assigned role to the user, system is smart and it will automatically pick the correct backend, correct system alias. So that role you have to give it here, that if my user has this role, use CRM system to connect, get the data from CRM system. And now I press F4 here and just maintain some role. Let's say I'll maintain something if I can find related to CRM. Let me see. No, I can't see. So it's unfortunately I can't see any role of CRM, but let me just use some role which you can at least assume. So it's a, let's say, a role which I would just come down and see, maybe something more related to services. So let me just service. Just that's a technical role. Yeah, I'll use this salesperson role. Okay, so you see this role, salesperson. I double click this and I copy this role also. And now that's it. I press enter and I say save. And I just assign it to a transport request. Good. And now let me paste this role into my notepad file so I can remember this. Now, what will happen if my user has this role? The gateway is smart. Gateway will automatically direct my call to CRM system and get me the data from there. If I don't have the role this assigned to me, gateway will still go ahead and talk to this current system. So you see both are default, but now the differentiator is the role. So without any role, okay, without this particular role, it by default always hit your backend. And with a role, it will hit the front end. But how do you tell the gateway that now I want to differentiate based on roles? Go ahead and execute my role condition. For that, you need to add an additional parameter to your OData service called MO. So put your service name semicolon MO. MO stands for multi-origin. It's called multi-origin concept. So with this, what it does, it then go and execute an additional code behind the scenes to check if you have an assigned role or not. And if it finds that role for you, it calls the CRM. If it doesn't find, it calls the backend. And as a response, it gives you an additional property. Let me call with MO, press enter. And now you see in the response, it will it should ideally give me the property for which system it has called it. Okay, so am I getting that? Where am I getting that? So ideally we get something called SAP origin. Okay, we get, okay, let me call an entity set now. Okay, let me call an entity set, product set, press enter. And now it's going to check that whether I do have that role. If I don't have, then it takes my backend system and calls it, and voila, you see now response, it is telling that it has called SAP origin fiori backend trust. See, it has called this particular system. You can see it, right? Because my Fiori server user which I'm using doesn't have the CRM role yet. So it automatically picked up this. So now this can be read, answering to your question, which the post I've got it on YouTube. This is what you can read in your Fiori app and decide which system it has called. But actually in Fiori, you should not worry for this. Why should you worry this in Fiori? It is controlled by a role. Whichever role is being put for user, that particular system was invoked to pull the data. Yeah. You can see a property SAP origin is now coming inside your response, right? You can make use of this to read which system was invoked. Of course, you may have to, enable, disable some function on the UI. Because of that, you may need this information that which system was called. So you can make use of this information. Now, SAP origin, you can read and find out the information. Yeah. You can also look at the response in JSON. Hope this answer your question now. I will post this also on YouTube and reference to this so that you all can be benefit. This is called multi-origin option. So you see SAP origin you getting in the response now. It's telling which system it is calling. Now let's see the magic. The real magic is I will assign now this role which I've got it here to my user. So I take this role, copy this and go to SU01. Though it's not an activity which I should do, it's a basis work, guys. Roles will be managed by basis, but yeah, if you know end to end, then it's always an advantage. I always say, never try to become only a bowler or never try to become a batsman. Try to become an all-rounder, because all-rounders are always in demand in a company. There is always a demand for all-rounders. Okay, and whenever there's a bidding process, you will get highest bid. Okay, I put it here now, the role name, press enter, and I just save my user. So watch now carefully. Same request I will make. I am not changing my request. It's as it is, which means your Fiori code doesn't change, because from Fiori, this is what you will be calling. So this will remain as it is. Press enter and see the magic. What happens now as a result, it checks the role, it finds that it's a CRM role assigned to it, and you see SAP origin automatically picked up as a CRM system. So now it's going to CRM system and getting the product data from the CRM system, guys. Hope this is clear to all of you. How, based on the roles in central hub scenario, it is calling different backend system. Hope, Mayuk, your question is also answered. What is the purpose? Why are we using central hub scenario? How it is helpful for us? Hope this is clear to everyone now. What is the advantage of using central hub scenario? And in fact, now this is being written as a property. You can use it in your Fiori application and also change your Fiori application behavior at runtime, hide some blocks, some fragments based on this returned origin. Now you know it's being called by CRM, so some functionality may not be relevant for user. So you can hide those UI elements based on the written output. Okay, so great. So let's move on now to our next topic. So next topic is we will now see connection to our OData service. This OData service, what we have to our Fiori Web IDE, and we will be creating a Fiori application using Web IDE on this. So I will quickly go to my personal Web IDE. I go to server, and let me just start my Web IDE. So I have also given access of this server to many of you, and I'm receiving a lot of questions about it. Anubhav, we are not seeing Web IDE running. How will it run? You have to start your Orion server first of all to run Web IDE. Another interesting point, if you go to Orion INI, check the port number. Port number is 8787. How will it run on 8080? This is what your server is responding on this port. Okay, 8787. So don't try to run on 8080 or anything else. It should respond on 8787. So let's come here. I say uh, localhost 8787 web id index html, and voila, you see, when you follow concepts, output will anyways come. You don't need to worry about output, guys. Follow excellence, success will come to you. Don't panic about Our main problem is we always think about output, output, output. We don't follow process. Process is more important. Output is nothing. It's an outcome of a right process. Okay, great. So come to workspace. Let's create a new project. So new project from template. And as I explained already in my past videos, that we had created a destination to our gateway system. So I'm just creating master detail application. And let's give a name, master detail app 2018. Say next. And I choose here Anubhav server. This is what my destination is. And it's asking me the username password for my backend system. So this we had already done, creating a destination in our web IDE in the past. So hope you all know that. And I just now search my service. And here is my service, Auto 2018 SRV. I go for next. And just create it for Fiori Launchpad. So, and then give a title, my products. And I say demo.sample and say my products. And I choose object collection as product set, title as product name, numeric attribute as, let me just give a numeric attribute here. So I would give it as price, and then unit of measure is currency code. And on item side, I don't want anything right now. I click on finish. My project gets created right away. And I had already explained about each and every artifact in our complete course by far. What is a view, what is a controller, what is a fragment, what is a formatter, what is internationalization technique, what is a model, what is a scaffolding template, what is a binding mode, binding type, XML views, complex bindings, index.html, bootstrapping, component, router, route match handler, manifest JSON. Hope you all remember these concepts which we had already discussed in the past. And now you can get started with modifying this application. But first, let's have a basic test of this app. It should launch the browser. Yes, it is. And then it will ask me my credentials for my gateway, which proves that it's connecting to the real server. No mocking, no mock data. Click on OK. And yes, you should see in a minute all the data getting loaded. Perfect. So that's the product which we created. If you remember, supersonic speed laptop, that was the one which we created yesterday into the system. And you can also see it is using route match handler, which we learned. Every route, every selection is marked with a unique ID, and that's unique ID is your product ID. You can see on the top UI 9999, which means if I choose a product, you can see route match handler is changing this ID on the top in the URL, and any selection is marked with a unique tag name. So when I press back button, what will happen? Anyone? When I press back button in the browser, what will happen? It will take me to the previous selection, right? That's what it does. That's the power of route match handler, which we learned in our course. Now my requirement is to show you creating a new product from the Fiori application. This was also one of the email which I received from one of you. Anubhav, can you show us creating a post request from a Fiori application to create something in the backend? So they wanted to see the create. So that's why I also incorporate this topic in the video. We will create an add button over here, and on clicking of that add button, I'm going to launch a screen on the right hand side where user will pass in the details about product to be created. Click on save button, and as a result, a product should be created in the backend system for us. Okay, so let's go ahead with that exercise. We will first add a plus button, and now I'll show you something nice. I can right click on my master view, open this with the layout editor, so I can quickly go ahead and edit my screen based on drag and drop feature. I don't have to write any XML code anymore. So I can just right click and open with layout editor, and now a very rich, powerful layout editor is getting started over here, you see. And I just drag this button over here to my toolbar, and let me just remove the text and just put an icon here in the right side property, SAP-icon : // add. and you should see an add icon being visible. If not, then you can also use F4 help with the set of all the icons available. You can choose it, click on OK, and then the icon will be assigned to this button. Great. Let's assign an action to this. So we all know there is a press event which we can assign. So you can also search here, press, and oops, it's not showing me up here. Any press property. That's okay. We can save this. We can also switch quickly to our XML based editor, right click and say open with your code editor, and this will switch you to the XML based editor. And you will see in a minute, yes, there you go, a footer content and an add button has been added by far into your footer content. So now what I'll do is I say, okay, sorry guys, I used an active icon property. It's just an icon property which I should choose so that icon can come up. Okay, and then let's use press. So whenever user press, what should happen is it should say on add. I just saying this action name, and as we typically do, we had learned by far all these concepts in our training. So let's go to the controller and add this, so you have ready-made code available for your model and stuff. Yeah, so now I just come here, add function, and just what I will do, I'm going to launch a new screen, new add screen. Okay, I'm going to launch a new add screen. So how can I create that screen? It's pretty easy to create that, but before that I need to create the view for that screen, right? So let's make use of this detail view which is already in place. I make a copy of it and paste it in the same view folder, and I just name this view as add view so that I can later on adapt it based on my need. So I'm just naming it as add view, and I will just right click and open this up with the layout editor and just adapt the screen based on my need. So in add view, I don't want this header anymore. I don't want this icon tab bar anymore, or maybe I want this, but then I want set of input fields and labels. So I can search on the left hand side set of input fields and labels. So I can say label, drag and drop this label over here, and then just change the label text. It's pretty easy rather than writing XML code, quite easy, drag and drop and add your properties accordingly. So in the label now, I'll just put as product ID. So just give me the product ID, and then I will also make it the width as 50% of the entire page. So you will see it reduced to 50%. And at front of this now, I'm going to place a input field. So I just say input, and just drag and drop the input field as well, and reduce the width of input field also to 50%. Okay, so let's come down and reduce this to 50%. And you can see it is being adjusted at front of your label. Now let's give an ID to this input field. So you see element ID here, and I say ID product. Of course, you can do a binding of this input field with your local model, which you can create at the view level. So I can also go and create a model at the view level and do a binding quickly with that. So let me create now the controller for this add view. So we had copied the detail view. Similarly, we'll copy the detail controller to quickly create the add controller for this add view. Yeah. That's an easy way. Now, since you know all the concepts, you can do copy paste, guys. And of course, you have to now change here the namespace. So it's an add controller. It's no more detail controller. Formatter is ready-made available. A local view model is ready-made available to you. And this local view model, what I'll also do is add some properties. So I will add my form fields and then add a JSON to just define here product ID blank. Then I say product, or I just put name. And what I can also do is first read my product in a JSON format. So you see product ID, I can use this as the property name so that it's automatically creates a payroll for it automatically creates a payload for me. So type code, I will hard code it to PR. So in fact, I can use all these JSON properties, guys. Let me use all of them, whatever I've got from payload of this, and that becomes my local JSON model for product form fields. Okay, and that's it. Let me just make them blank. And price is something which I will take it from user. Currency also I will take it from user. Let me hard code it to euro just in case user doesn't pass. Supplier ID also I will take it from user. And supersonic speed laptop name also I'll take it from user. Description also take it from user. Let me just keep supplier ID hard coded for time being. Okay, we can of course change it. That will be assignment for you. I will give you an assignment today. Okay. So then we have name, description. We leave category and type code as it is. We don't touch it. Okay, we just need something which which is noticeable, which when it gets created, it's noticeable. So product ID I'm using, and name, description, price, currency. 5 fields will create on the UI. Now let me also put these properties inside the double quotes so that we can follow proper JSON convention. So that's a good activity. That's a pretty standard to create JSON, that you put things in the double quotes. So that's my local model, guys, which is inspired by the properties which I'm getting in JSON format from my OData service. And that's what I recommend to all of you. When you are creating a local JSON model, always try to look at the response of your entity set on which you are going to fire a post request later point of time in the JSON format, and based on that you create your local JSON model. That will give you a kind of flexibility. You don't have to transfer the data from one work area to another like you do it in ABAP. If there are two work area with different field names, you can't apply move corresponding. Same thing happens here. If you are creating a local JSON model with same property names what you need to prepare in the payload, then it becomes quite easy for you to send this data up, right? So that's my form fields, and inside that I have lots of properties. Okay, and then I will be using product ID, name, description, price, and currency, 5 fields on the UI. So let's do the mapping, let's do the binding of these form fields. So they're part of my view model, and this view model is set as detail view. The name of the model is detail view. So when you're doing binding, you will use named model arrow, the property name slash basically the path of the property. That's what you will be using. So let's go to the add view, and now here let's bind this value, and I'll say data fields. Unfortunately I cannot see my model here because it's been defined from the program, from the code. So maybe I will just quickly create here the set of label and input field. So many label and input field. So let me just do that. Or maybe I switch to code editor. That's kind of gives me flexibility to quickly copy paste the code and make it ready. So I switch to my open with my code editor, and here we have now our label input created. So let's make it copy and create 5 fields which I needed. So product ID, product name, product description, product price, and product currency. Yeah, and then let's put some ID for each one of them. ID name, ID description, ID price, ID currency. Done. And once this is all done, we also have to change ID for our label. So let's change the ID for our label. Always try to make sure that you put stable IDs in your code. It gives you kind of a flexibility to also try things up into the console. That should be a good practice if you put stable IDs for your controls. Very, very helpful, because we can do get view by ID, right? This dot get view dot by ID we can call. So is putting stable ID is a good practice in your UI elements. Wow. Now let's come here and put the binding. Value should be bounded to my local model. So curly braces. And what was our local model name? So let's come and check it out. It's detail view. Oops, my code went away because I had saved the layout editor code, and that has replaced my code editor code. So unfortunately, I have to re-add quickly things up. 2, 3, 4, and I would avoid just putting IDs again. Just put 1, 2, 3, 4 just to save some time now. And then I say value equals to curly braces, and then put my local model name. What was my local model name? It's detail view model in that form fields. So detail view model arrow slash form fields slash my property name. So now my property name starts with product ID, name, description. So that's all we will be putting. So let's take this value. This part remains same for all of them. So I'm just going to reuse this. Okay, nice. Let's put here all of the binding for these fields. And then I just say product ID. So this I can take it now from my OData because I matched the properties coming from OData there. And then let's put the category, name, description, price, and currency code. What was the currency code thing? Here it is. Now you will also see a magic happening. Whatever value is put in my model, it will be appearing on the UI for me. And let's finally add a save button at the bottom. So now I switch. Okay, let me also change the name of the controller in the add view. If you remember, we made a copy of detail view, so the controller name is different. So let's let it be sure. And then I will also add in my add view a footer button, which is like save button. On click of save button, something should happen. So let's right click and switch back to the layout editor so that I can quickly add a button over here at the bottom, drag and drop. So I just drag and drop a button below, and I just name this button as save button. Within come down, and here we have an icon, SAP-icon ://save. You will see a save icon have come up here, and then of course my action handler. So we can switch save it, and then let's have a look at this button and just give it press on save. Okay, so now this view should be loaded based on what? Anybody? What is that we use to load our view? Which concept did I taught to you? Which helps you to load a view? Which concept did I taught you to load a view? Anybody? Anyone? Which concept did I taught you to load and navigate to a view? Which concept? Router. Perfect answer, Cypher. It's a router concept. So we will now define route for this view in our routing configuration and ask router to load this view for us on click of add button. So let's go to the manifest.json and reuse the routing configuration for one of the thing and just define this. So I will use this one, this guy here, and put add. Just put the view name as a capital add. View ID is ID add, let's say. Save it, and that's my target. This target should be called based on some pattern. So this is the pattern configuration. I will also reuse this, and I say the pattern should be add, and somebody is calling add and giving me the root name is load add. Then I'm going to load master and add on the right hand side. That should be my routing configuration. We are done. This is the name of the route now, load add. I'm going to use this load add to call the router and tell the router, please load this for me. So I come back to my master controller and I just say this dot get router object dot nav2, and I just put my router name, router configuration name. Save this. Now you must wonder, Anubhav, how is this .get router is available to you? Can anybody tell me? If you have read through the complete training properly, you will easily tell me where it is coming from. Anyone? This .get router method, where it is coming from? Perfect answer, Srini. Thank you so much for the answer. It's coming from base controller. Guys, if Srini can answer this, you can also answer it. Don't think that you cannot answer. You see, in the base controller, we have the method called get router, and my current master controller is inheriting this method from the base controller. You see, we extended the base controller, which means it's an inheritance. Any method available in the parent class can be invoked in the child class. That's what I'm doing, calling load add. That's it. Thank you, Srini. I think you understood the concept. Whatever routing concept and base controller concept I taught you in the class, you understood all of that. So call the view, save this. We are ready. And now we are ready to shoot. Run the app. You should get an add button. On click of add button on the right hand side, your ad view should get loaded quite nicely. So now you see an add button is available for me. I click on the add button and voila, beautiful. My first add button is available. But yeah, you see infinite loading indicator, that's happening because of a side effect of controller code from the detail view. So there is a side effect of the detail view controller code which is causing this problem. So I will just go to that on match root match handler, and you see here there is some key it's trying to build it, which is causing a side effect. I'll remove this code. We don't need this anymore. I'm removing it. This was a side effect of detail view code. Yeah, that's all looks nice. I save it, come back, and I can just refresh now because there is a unique identity given to this view. You see on the top, the tag name is attached to it, so it will reload the state of the UI. I don't have to go from start all over again. Okay, I refresh and let's see. Yes, finally you see my ad view is getting loaded. So let it load the metadata of the OData service, and then hopefully we should see it. Okay, still I think there is some more side effect. Maybe this code is also causing an issue. I'll remove this, and yeah, now I think we are side effect free. We should be able to see the ad view getting loaded without any loading indicator. Yes, finally it got loaded. You see, now I can edit a product ID. Oops, my labels are not proper. Got to change them quickly. So go to add view, and of course we have our labels here, product ID. What is the ideal practice to give labels? Anyone? What is the ideal practice to give these labels of your UI elements? What is the ideal practice? Who will tell me? Perfect answer, Srini. Once again, thank you so much. It's I18N. I18N is the internationalization concept in UI5. I have taught you in one of the chapter how to do translation of your Fiori application into different languages. We saw an example of translating it in Hindi language, and of course you can do it in different languages. So make sure that you do binding, and believe me, your model is available readily. I18 model, you don't have to create it. It's available because we generated this project from WebIDE. WebIDE creates I18N model automatically for you. If you want to check out that model, go to manifest.json. We also discussed about manifest.json in our class, creating this I18N model using design time attributes in manifest.json. So you can make use of it out of the box, and then just use name, description, and then we have it here. What we put price, of course, and then currency code. How do you make sure if your binding of local view is working fine or not? Just look at the output. You see euro. It means your local binding is also working absolutely fine, which you have done with your local JSON model in the detail view. Yeah, this is what we learned in our binding chapter. If you remember, what type of binding it is, who will tell me? There are three types of binding which we have learned in our course: element binding, property binding, element binding, aggregation binding. Which binding is this? Anybody? Which binding is this? Property binding. Yet again, Srini, you know all the concepts now. Congratulations, Srini. I would like to offer some job support assignment to you. If you will be interested, please contact me. Okay. Then now we have this binding, and can anybody tell me which path is this? Which path is this? What you call this path name? 100% interview question: difference between absolute path and relative path. Which path is this? Anybody who will tell me which path is this? No, it's not relative path, it's absolute path. It's absolute path because now you have not done an aggregation binding at parent control level. You have done the path directly from the root. Who is the root here? If you go to the controller, this is the root. Form fields is the root. It's a direct root of your JSON model. So you've done binding directly with the root path. So it's an absolute path. It's not a relative path. When you're doing aggregation binding, that's when you use typically the relative path. Okay, great. So now we are done. So let's look at our add button also must be there. Yes, we have our save button in place. We can just now fill in this property and get this product created. And for that, then it's a suspense. I will leave you here. In the next session, I will show you creating a product in the you can see our labels got adopted. I will show you creating product in the system. We will fire a post request from our Fiori application from our controller, and that would ultimately create a product in your SAP backend system. And you know, default origin is ECC, so it's going to create in ECC. And if I can, I will show you how to change the origin from the Fiori application so that it checks the role and it goes to the CRM. In fact, it will automatically do, but you just have to put this semicolon MO, multi-origin, that you put it, and that's it. Great. So see you tomorrow at the same time, guys. Stay tuned. Lot more interesting things to come up, and then we'll give a closure to our course. Please stay tuned. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Will be very helpful for you. You will keep on getting new videos because technology is evolving, guys. The things which I was teaching 3 years back, I'm not teaching them anymore. Things have changed in last 3 years, so you can assume that sticking to one thing will kind of become difficult for you to manage in this industry. You got to keep learning is a continuous process. Okay, it is not a kriya, it's a prakriya. In Hindi we call it as kriya prakriya. It's not a action, it's a process. Learning is a process, it's not an action. It's not like you learn today and then you're safe and secure for rest of the life. No, it's a continuous process. Things which we had learned in our college days are no more relevant. Things which we have learned during when we joined companies like ABAP programming, it's no more relevant much in the market these days. Nobody will give you a good package on ABAP. Believe me, nobody will give you a good package on ABAP. If you want to increase your salary, increase your value in the market, and the value will increase with learning. Okay, value will increase in learning. It won't increase. So focus on your learning. This is our major problem. We don't invest in our learning. We always expect our manager to give us good hike, good promotion every year, a new level. We want to become architect in our career, even a super architect. But how much effort do we put for that? How much learning do we do about it? How much investment we do on ourselves? If you answer to this question, success will be watching you. You will easily grab the success. You will stay apart from the crowd easily. Don't spend your time in cafeteria with colleagues talking unwanted things that leads to just politics. That leads to just politics. Stay away from crowd. Spend every single minute of your time on learning as much as you can. Believe me, you will get great success. This is not a success if you're sitting in a company as a principal developer. It's not a success. Believe me, you did not tasted the success. Once you get taste of learning, you will get taste of success. That's when you realize the power of learning. Invest on yourself. invest on yourself. That's the biggest mistake what we do. We don't invest in ourselves. Great. See you tomorrow. Have a nice day. Goodbye.